this kit, it starts off with this really killer wreath base. These are really fun to work with. Automatically going to set you apart because it's very unusual. These are custom made for our store, and they are made of angel vine. They have a wire frame inside, but they're nice and thick and chunky. So it kind of elevates your design immediately, adds a higher perceived value. The greenery you're going to work with has a rose leaf and a beautiful muted green palette with these little rose hips and berries and all the good stuff, nicely wired. It comes with 3 of those. And remember, these kits are very lush, very full. You could stream them, you could, cut them back if you wanted and make multiple projects out of them, but I'm teaching you to do one elaborate over-the-top design. So it's so full, so gorgeous. I know, Kim, it's so fun. Oh, they're still in your weather. I know, Donna, they're getting in on that good weather. Then we've got the greenery. This is the same greenery we used in the swag. We got a couple of these, and I love this because it adds that wispy feel to your design. I love that. Then our main star to show is the cute little scarecrow. I love him. He comes on a foam base, so he's really easy to attach. His arms are wired, so we can do all kind of fun stuff with him. But he's got the jute, the really rustic look, the traditional fall colors. Now, this time we mixed it with some of these fuzzy pumpkins. Those are great texture in here with the angel vine and all the texture that's on his hat and on his legs. And of course, we've got 2 of these. These are kind of like a little skinny millet, and these are going to work like our wheat and add all that movement. So these are going to function like a berry or a twig would in design because they're going to move around when that door opens or closes. The 2 ribbons that come in the kit are a cute plaid and of course the scarecrow ribbon. That's just a cute combo. Just excellent to set off this design, all right? So think big and bold. This design today we're going to work on is going to work all in this kind of the center, a little bit different. It'll be kind of like we'll have a transition down here at the bottom, but instead of going off to the sides or a C shape or all the way around, we're going to literally work kind of right in the middle, cascading left to right off of this. So in order to make everything work, we're going to cut kind of a taller piece of foam. Not quite this tall, but probably like about this tall, that fits right here in the base, that I can stabilize nice and strong in there to put all of these pieces in, okay? So I think I want it a little taller, but not quite that tall. So I'm going to kind of make a couple of cuts. Like a cut there, and then a cut here. So I'm just marking up how I'm going to cut this foam. So I'm going to cut that tip off first. And I just pull it, and then if you can kind of just cut through it, that's perfect. So I have heavily glued this. I put a lot of glue, and I'm kind of letting that just start soaking in. We're going right in the middle. Now the thing is, that's not enough to keep this in place. It will fail on you. So what we're going to do is we're going to use these like little skewers to skewer in there and hold this puppy in place through the base, okay? So I'm going to cut them down a little. We're going to put them right into that glue. I'm going to cut it kind of long. I'm going to hit it with some glue, and we're going to come in through the bottom of the wreath and go into that foam, okay? And there's a wire in there, so I want to try to get, around the wire. But if I can use that as some stability, I'll bend it around it to keep it in there, okay? And that's a brown stem, so that's perfect. You won't see it going in. Trim it. Now these are all, just extra support to hold this puppy in place. So there's 2 in. Got some stability there. And I'm going to come from the side too. Perfect. So let's come in. We're going to stab it this way. So that's why it's a good idea to keep any of these little nubs, especially the ones that are already wrapped and pretty and, just go perfectly in your design and not even show. That was a good one. I'll trim this off. One more on the other side. So the reason for doing this is so I can get some height in the middle here, but I've still got a good place to put my scarecrow. And he can sit kind of on the top of this little block and be nice and sturdy. Now, this should be so sturdy that I can just pick up the whole wreath by it. Very, very stable. Okay, first thing we're going to do is start with our bigger pieces of greenery to lay out our design. And just like anything, we start by setting the perimeter of the design. So we have to kind of know where we think our transitions are going to occur. So I think I want this cutie kind of sitting up on my foam block, right? So if that's the case, I can't put a million stems in here. I can put some, but I gotta have a place for him to still sit here, right? So I gotta leave a little bit of room at the front. So think about that. And if this is the case, probably what will happen is everything will kind of go up from the middle of the scarecrow, and then the bow we're gonna make is gonna be down here. So from about here, everything will kind of come down. So that will be our layout for the design, okay? So let's get going with our greenery first. Okay, now with this one, I'm gonna start off by just trimming these all individually, or I can just leave it as one full stem, would also work if you wanted to, and I think it's okay to do that. So I'm gonna leave this in, and I'm gonna set my perimeter. If I leave this as a full piece, just straight up, I'm gonna bring it a little to the left, because I know I'm gonna have my little scarecrow kind of here. So let's use that one as a full piece to the left. I can trim it right here. I'm going to trim it just a little bit longer, and we're going to glue it in. This is a good little piece. I'm just going to hold it off to the side. So it's fall time, so make sure you're keeping brown stems and black stems for Halloween, so you can put those into things. Now, I'm going to go ahead, if I can, I'm going to hit this with a little Spanish moss to hide my glue anytime I can. I don't want moss everywhere. I got a lot to put in this foam, but I can start to do a little bit of hiding, okay, just like I would on a regular wreath. Now shake hands with this. I did that a little before we put it up, but I like to try to get the leaves to the back, those rose leaves, which I love them, but I want to make sure they're in the background. And then move the smaller berries and things to the foreground. Sorry guys, I've got so much congestion, I lost my balance. I got excited about leaves, so that could happen. Here's our first piece going in, looks great. Now I'm going to take my second piece, and we're going to leave two sections of it together and break off one. Remember, I'm setting my perimeter. So scarecrow's here. I'm going to go out to the right and out to the left here. So if I want to do that, I know I can just do that with one piece here. I can just cut it down and use this all as one piece right here. I'm going to cut this off, and that'll leave me one piece on a long stem, all right? Now you can see I've shaped that up so that goes over here to the right. Down low and up high. Okay, and we're going to put that right into the foam. And that leaves us a nice little background for our scarecrow. Alright, put it in. And I'm not worried about my foam because I've got that nice and stabilized in there. Now, let's go ahead and take and talk about, I'm going to just set Scarecrow up there so you can kind of see. Sit in there, buddy. And we'll put a skewer in him to skewer him just a little bit, but you kind of get an idea where he's going to be. I'm going to put his arm around there. It'll be right there, okay? So with that in mind, we need to start to work on our greenery kind of coming down. Now he's just sitting in there. He looks whack right now, but I'll be fixing him, don't worry. So here's my pieces coming down. And I kind of want to use the same configuration. Remember, our transition is at him, so everybody's got to switch direction. So I think this works fine just as a full stem kind of coming down. And this is what's the ribbon's going to lay on top of, and this is going to function as your background for everything. So I'm going to do the same thing, shake hands with this, separate it out, and we'll put it down low in the design. It's going to be so cute. All right, I think I'm happy with that. And come on out, Scarecrow. We know where your legs are going. So I'm thinking about right there. okay? So there's two ways to do this. I can either pin it into the foam, or I can take and bend this back and we'll put it into the foam there. I'm just going to kind of get an idea of how long I need. I'm going to cut it right here. My kiddo is with my aunt since earlier. They're still there, and she just sent a text. Gotta read y'all the text, y'all. It says, "We're doing good. Kaya's taking a nap, and I'm finishing the backpack. And we got canes for lunch." Of course they did. I love it. I'm replying to my aunt, y'all. Love it. I'm teaching and having so much fun. Okay. All right. Aunt Jo knows what's up. So Kaya's taking a nap over at Aunt Jo's. My aunt just lives really close. And her daughter are heading up to San Diego next week to be with my mom and dad and hang out with them. So Kaya's getting a little Aunt Jo time. All right, see my little L shape? I'm going to put that at the bottom, and I'm going to go in there and put some glue on that now, okay? And remember, this is setting the perimeter, and what that means is setting the, the outside lines of your design. Like, how far am I going to go out? How far am I going to go down? What's my plan? And if I can see the glue, I try to cover it with moss, because eventually there's going to be holes here where they'll be able to see into the foam. That's a big pet peeve of mine. I want to get it covered if possible. I forgot to do that one, but we'll do it now. You got one little berry pig left. I'm holding that off to the side. And now we're going to come in with our greenery. Okay, so our greenery is going to soften up all around all this. So I do want to leave it fairly long, but I'm going to go ahead and push this up. All right? But I'm still going to cut these long because we got to get it far from the base. Oh, it's 101, Debbie. Holy moly. And Kansas. Whoa. You're not kidding. It's hot here too. But, we're almost to July, and that's when it starts to get here. We lucked out in Florida. It was not too bad. There was rain. One day it was misting kind of all day and getting rainy, but we worked around it. So it was really only hot, like miserable hot one day that we were outside. So that was nice. All right, trimmed it down again. So everybody's trimmed down. And now we're going to start to put these in between, all right? So the reason I don't put him in first is because then I got to work around him. So sometimes I'm okay with it, sometimes I'm not. Here I'm working in foam. I'll put him in a little bit, but I'm starting to teach you guys to make sure you set the perimeter of your design and you learn the concept of the design. Because you'll find when you're mass producing, you're making a lot, I don't want to work around him every second. It's a pain. So I'll put him in probably before we get to the very end. But in this case, I just like to work without him in there. It's kind of like I do that with my bows a lot. I don't like to put the bow in until the end. You can do it. You could put him in first if that was better for you. You could totally do that. Now I'm coming in here, and I'm just working in around, all the way around the perimeter, okay? Still the leaves are the longest, but I'm coming in around him. Yeah, there's no right or wrong way to do it. Remember, I've just made thousands and thousands of pieces, and so some things are just kind of my personal preference. Like, I prefer not to move him. Like here, I can see the foam. I can just rock and roll when I'm putting stuff in. When I have to move him around, and you can see the difference. I have to work around him. Whatever works best for you. I'm working right now just layering the greenery in and around, and everything here is above the transition. So I'm going to go down on the sides even, soften that a little bit. See how soft that makes that look immediately? And when I don't have him in there, it allows you to see exactly where I'm going. Like, otherwise he's hiding everything. And then I'm going to go on this side, okay? So everybody's moved up at this point and spread out. Now I'm going to work on the bottom, so we're going to change direction. Okay? and go with the last few pieces going the other way. So you can see we've kind of made like a mini swag right here in the foam, working right up the middle of the wreath. And we've done floating designs in the middle of the wreaths. We've done all kind of similar type styles. But this is the first time we've done this just using a really tall piece of foam right down the middle. And I'm digging it. Digging it with that hollow base. We can make it really stable. Like we can get in and stabilize the foam without much stuff showing. Let's go down here. See, I'm just working around, and I'm going to put 2 more here because they're going the opposite direction because we have transitioned down. And when you see me putting a little moss on, I'm just trying to cover up glue right now, okay? So these are the 2 pieces I have left. I'm keeping those later to use kind of around the bow. All right, let's get Mr. Scarecrow in, okay? So we can now work around him with our final few elements that we're going to put in and then get our bow tied, right? So you can see we kind of made him a throne up here to sit in. He's going to sit way up here. Isn't he precious? You're kind of seeing him from the top, so you may not see his face. But in order to accomplish that exactly where we want it, and then the bow be right in here where we left that area open. So I'm going to just go ahead and we're going to skewer him right through his hiney and get him where he can sit right in there good. Okay, so I just gave him a little perch. He's ready to go. And I just put a little moss around it to make him look a little neater because he's just going to sit right in there. I'm going to cut him down just about 3 inches. So he's got a smaller amount for me to put into the foam, okay? Now this is a piece of wired dowel, and in this case that works a little better so I can manipulate him if I need to, right? Get in there, buddy. Uh-oh. Need you to go all the way in, please. Thank you. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. And I love him because he has all this great wire, and you can do fun stuff with him, okay? So before we put anything else in, I want you to go ahead and we're going to stop and tie our bow. But we got a great start going. We've got him going up high here, his body coming in here. He's on a wire, so I can move him a little more, a little less if I need to. Right here is our 2 ribbons. And I love the Scarecrow. Now it happens to be on this roll backwards, so we'll have to work around that, which is okay. Meaning the pattern goes this way. Not too big of a deal except for our first tail. And then we have the plaid that we're mixing with it. And I picked this out because it's got the plaid that's in his shirt and the yellow that's on the shorts. Let me get a couple of cable ties out. And let's start with our ribbon here. Let's go put it on the spool holder. And we're going to start with our first tail, which we normally come in and do this way, but then it would be upside down. So no worries. We're going to come in and I'm going to start with a twist. That gets it going up forward. So this will be my first tail. And I do want this to be about 20 inches. It can even be longer, and this is on the left side of my bow. So I'm going to cut it this way. Okay. So twisted, I start my first loop. The reason I still do a twist is so I get that pretty little gather right there. Okay. Now I'm going to come on the right side, and we're going to do our second tail. So I'm basically just taking care of the tails first this time instead of doing it last, all right? And I want to twist it the same situation so I get that little pucker. There we go, and it's sitting up pretty. Let's sit here. And that'll help it stay tighter in the center too if you can. So there's our matching tails to start off. So a little bit different than we normally would do, but long 20-inch tails, okay? Now we're going to start with the loops instead of a tail first. So I'll just come in, we'll start in the middle, and we'll just start with the scrunch, and we'll start the loops. And I'm going to go 7, nice and big and full twist. 7. Okay, and twist. Let's put a couple of these. And then we'll come put some tails in and twist and scrunch it, okay? So separate these out so we can kind of see our bow starting to form. Beautiful, nice and big and full. And I'm not having another tail here, so we're going to cut that off. Okay. Now let's come in with our check. Check is next. Get in here. And so I want these tails to be nice and long also. I am actually going to dovetail these because this ribbon, it'll look prettier, I think, dovetailed. There you go. Bring that down about the same length. Twist. And we're going to do 2 loops also, okay? Actually, might do 3. And now we're making them about 6.5, okay? No, what are we making them? 6. They're an inch shorter. Okay. And just hold that when you bring your ribbon back up. Twist right hand forward, left hand back. And now I'm going one more at 6, twist. Hold it in the center while you're fluffing it up. Alright, when we're all done, we're going to scrunch it in the center, and I'm going to cut these to match on the other side. We'll cut that dovetailed again. Just fold it and cut up from the fold to make the dovetail. Alright, I'm coming in the middle, and I'm going to put 1 loop of this now. And let's see, I want to do, I think we're going to do it bow tie. We're not really going to have any tails coming down. I'm going to go literally bow tie. So I'm going to come to the middle. Let me cut it flat. And then I'm going to go in with 1 at 5, okay? Twist. And then 5 would be here. Okay. And instead of making it like normal, I'm going to make it a bow tie. So I'm going to pull it back out. And we're going to make this one big loop. That way I'll eliminate my tails. Okay. And just overlap them slightly. This is about 5 inches on either side. Now get that right in the middle and gather it. And the reason I do that is so I don't have a seam up front where their tail's going to show, right? They're all here in the back when we do a bow tie. And that just means we're not having more tails in the front. Okay? So we're all done. We have a recipe of 2-3-1, 2-3-1, a little bit different than normal. Now I'm going to come in with a smaller cable tie here. This is an 8-incher. I'll run it right beside them. Now as I'm bringing it up, I work that cable tie back to the middle so it's not lopsided. Okay? And then all the magic happens when you fluff it up. Okay, so I've got the cable tie worked to the middle. And now I'm going to lay these in between these. So this part of the bow lays in between those 2 loops. And you can see how it's going to come together so cute. There we go. Looking good? Now, it's okay if it's floppy because we're dealing with a floppy scarecrow. It's kind of the look we're going for. I'm going to take and get that really tight. Now I'm going to come here to the back, and those 2 pieces we started with that were kind of short, now we're really going to cut them shorter so they don't show. And then I'm going to trim this off. Looking good. All right, let's come down the middle with our check. It's just kind of an obvious choice. We're going to put it down here. I'm just going to take this and fold it in half so I get a nice little piece down the middle. Okay, looks good. A couple of knots. And then we'll trim that off too in the back. And our bow is made. Now that bow is taking up a good amount of real estate under our scarecrow. So we're going to put that in a minute. we are going to need to use a wire behind it. Now, you could use the floral pins, but in this case, I need to make my own larger floral pin. So this is a piece of the stem that we saved earlier. So just bend it, and I want you to make your own floral pin. So we're going to put the bow up here, and then we'll be able to push it into the foam. This is a little too long. We'll be trimming it, but it gives you an idea in real size what we're doing, okay? So go ahead and put the bow on here. And it doesn't really matter if you go left to right or right to left, because we're going to go into foam. So I'm just going to put it in and get it tight. And now the bow is attached to the wires. And once we get ready to attach it, I might trim, I will trim these down. You can keep it shaped like a U. It'll give you a little more stability than if you just have it one. But there is our bow on our wire. Okay? Now let me bring the wreath back over. And we're going to start to put the finishing touches on this one. All right. He's in. He's up high. We still got a lot of his foam underneath we got to work with. But he looks really cute. Now I want to show you his shape. His shape is good. It's not symmetrical. That's my style. So you'll see this kind of comes off to the left and the bottom just goes straight down. But if you're like, Keleas, I cannot do that. That drives me nuts. No worries. Just have this match the bottom. Okay, as far as your shaping goes of the whole design. All right, you're looking so cute, buddy. Now it's time to get our pumpkins in, and we'll get our bow in first, actually. So that'll make you feel a little more comfortable about where everything's going. So let's play with it. Bring the legs up for a minute. Hey, you can do it. Oh, hello again, buddy. All right. This is a different scarecrow here. All right, now I'm going to put this bow kind of tucked up under here. I would like it opposite that high piece up over here, so that way these tails kind of lay over to the right. So I've got that kind of line working again. So if that's the concept I want, I'm going to have it go in here. These are a little too long, so I'm going to trim them off a little, and we're going to go right into that area. Okay. Trim it, trim it. Let's get it on. Okay. Kind of at an angle over here to the right. Perfect. Now I'm going to go ahead. Yes, I want his legs overlapping the bow, kind of coming out a little bit fun. I like all that. Always like it to feel like it's, oh, he's sitting on the bow. How can he even sit on the bow? Well, it's the magic of the foam, you know, like we can do fun stuff when we build it right. Now these tails, I love for them to work in kind of behind and within the greenery. It might be hard to see here, but when I get pictures from the front, I'll kind of show you how I work that in. All right, and you can of course add more ribbon, you could add more tails, you can make that even more dramatic if you want, but I've just kind of got it working in right there. Okay, and he's sitting up over here, looking good. Now it's time to get his pumpkins in and his little his wheat grass. So I love the pumpkins because they have the fun texture, and we already created these two lines. Like we have this line working through the design this way. So we're going to reinforce that with our pumpkins and our grass. So because I think I want the pumpkins to be in the foreground, I'm going to take the wheatgrass and put it in first. Here's my pieces to work in around the bow. All right, and this one, if I just leave it full on, it's pretty good, but I think I want to control the placement a little bit better to get it tighter into that foam. So I'm going to take and cut it into 3 sections. And we'll work it in there. So I want to leave this one here. I need a strong wire on each one, okay? Now this one has the longest stem, so we're going to use it first. Now this is going to shoot right up through this area. I know that's going to be my highest piece, so I need to know how much room I've got to get that in there. I'm getting it in there. Let's get it loaded with glue. And put that first piece of wheat in there. I love that. That just gives it so much movement. So that's our highest piece here. We're going to work down from there in behind the scarecrow. Okay. So number 2, let's put this really full one here. That's going to come out the side of the foam. I know you cannot see it now. That's coming out the side. Fill it in here really, really pretty. Kind of side front a little bit. There you go. And I can see into that glue, so I'm going to cover it with moss. I'm actually going to use a little bigger piece now because I'm getting down to my last few pieces of placement. I want to hide my foam in there. Alright. Alright, I'm going to hold off on this for just a second. We're going to use this in the foreground, but I want to layer in those pumpkins, okay? The pumpkins are going to come up on one big stem through there. Now, they kind of wiggle on this one stem, which is great. So I'm going to cut this one off and leave these two together like that. And then we'll use that other one a little bit shorter because they tend to like walk around a little bit and slide. I want to control their movements a little more. If I had to go up really tall, I couldn't do that, but on this one, I can do it. Yeah, you are so cute in there. Oh, I love the textures. The textures are great. We're nailing it with that. Here comes my third one in. I'm going to bring it in just a little bit lower here. Right about here. Okay. Cute. And kind of just scooping up around him. Now, I left that little area because we're going to go in there with the wheat. Okay, so they're now not just in there, they're in the wheat. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. I love making this stuff with you guys. Creating new projects. It's just too fun. And I love scarecrows. That is sweet right in there. That looks good. All right. So that's our first line, like working up to the left. We're going to work with our second line, and that's going to come down through those ribbons on the bow. So I'm going to move him up. Move him up. Move it on up. Yay. All right. So you see those there. And we're going to have our next pumpkins kind of work through this way and kind of come out this way with the tails of our ribbon. Kind of lining up over here. And our greenery is pretty much going straight, but we can wiggle it just a little to make that happen. So we're going to do the same concept. We're going to start with our wheat first, and I'm going to cut this down to where I've got 3 separate pieces. And the only thing is, now the foam is way up here. So I want you, before you cut anything, get up in here and see, okay, how far do I have to get into my foam? Do I need to, maybe I need to leave this full if I can't reach it. So the foam is right here. So I'm just going to kind of run that on the front. So I can cut off one piece and leave the rest together, okay? You're going to have to measure and just kind of take a look at it. So I'm going to leave 2 together on a long stem and then take 1 off. So that means I'll take these 2 and take this one off, okay? And we're going down, so we're working on the other side of the transition. So that means everybody works down. And here, you see how we're kind of coming off to the left? I want to rotate this to where I'm going to come off to the right and come down on that same line. Y'all are going to be making some beautiful pieces. I cannot wait to see what you come up with. Hopefully these inspire you to create something gorgeous. Or if you have the kit, you can make this exact piece. Just so many options in your designer wheelhouse here. Okay, that one's going in. Look at that. It's beautiful. There goes those wheats coming out of there. Stunning. Now, we're going to do the same concept with the pumpkins, but I want to control their movement just a little bit, so I'm going to trim off one and then leave these on the long stem so we can get that long piece in first. Got our fun bow working here with the wheat. You can put your arm around some wheat. Oh, you're so cute. You're just a cute scarecrow. All right, now I'm going to work this up here. So right about there, I want to see how that looks. So that way the pumpkins continue, they kind of S-curve back down. I'm going to have one shorter one that I can control the length of there. So I think we're going to go about here. I got to put a good bend on it to get into the foam. Okay? And there they are. Trim that off and put this in. All right, let's put this piece in. This is our longer piece. Push it into the foam, it looks good. Now I want to take and wiggle this around, and I'm going to work with a little of this greenery just to make sure it all kind of works in. I'm going to tilt the heads of those pumpkins up a little bit. Okay. Perfect. Now let's grab our individual pumpkin, and that one I'm going to put in tight right here. Okay? Then we got to get our wheat in there. This wreath's got such great texture. Sometimes that's hard to achieve with, you know, exactly the way I want it, but these fuzzy pumpkins and the burlap texture and the burlap in the ribbon and then this like it's good. It really looks good. Okay, our wheat is next. This is the wheat that's laying in the front. So this piece is here. So it'd be great if this piece could kind of work out right out of here, kind of out the center of the bow. So I'm going to take and get this shorter, and we'll trim up that end and glue that right into the foam under the bow. Okay. Just a little moss there, so watch yourself as you put it in. Oh, pretty. And that just works its way right out. And then I'm going to take some of this wheat and kind of spread it around a little. Yeah, between the pumpkins. There you go. I'm actually just twisting it so these sit up a little better. There you go. Oh my gosh, I'm so cute. Okay, now before I show you the whole finished piece, while we got a good view here, we're going to work with those last bits of greenery. This piece and this little bit of greenery, we want to work that all in around the bow. Okay, just like normal, we don't want that bow to be solitary. So pull these off. A couple of nice little pieces. There's another good wire to hold on to. Trim these down. And we want these just short and sweet going into that bow, okay? So I want a little bit kind of coming out of this side. So I'm just going to kind of go between my two back pieces here. It's into the foam. Now pull them behind, okay? And you can work the florals up higher into the bow, but you just had to get into the foam first, okay? Very cute. Now let's do one kind of coming right out of the center of the bow too. This is the last little bit of greenery we had. So just always save 1 to 2 pieces if possible to do these last little touches. They really look really cute. So this one I'm having kind of come out and up, right? Because it's above the transition, so it comes out that way. And then let's take, there's a little bit of this in here. Let's take and put a little bit right here. So we went on either side in the middle. I've got a couple of pip berries and a leaf. So this week, in this particular tutorial, what we're doing right now, I think the big takeaway is you can create a design right in the center of the wreath that is not C-shaped, nor does it go left or right. It's literally just slightly angled, almost like a swag running through the middle of the wreath base. And I guarantee you when you go to the craft show, no one is having that. They're just having round wreaths that go, you know, predictable around. And it's good to try something a little higher level design, a little bit more out of your comfort zone. I think they're a lot of fun. And these chunky wreath bases themselves are just amazing. Look at that. This is going to photograph real good. That wheat in there is the key on this, guys. Look how cute. So from the back, this is what you see. And I will cover this up. This will be covered with moss or ribbon. A burlap ribbon would look neat and clean on here too. I don't know if I have any 4-inch burlap here, but if I do, I'll put that. If not, I'll pin moss in it to cover that up because I want that back to be neat as possible, but it just turned out really great. So my shape works this way, and I'm a big fan of the wheat on here. That really tied in. And pushing that bow, right, working it into the greenery, this killed it. This crushed it, you guys. Oh my goodness, Blue Arenas. We're going to work on one of our cute scarecrow wreath bases. These are so fun. So easy to work on and create the cutest projects really fast and easy. We're going to use a couple of these beautiful orange filler sprays, a little bit of fall greenery here, of course some fuzzy brown pumpkins, which just go great with the vibe, and we are living it up with this kind of retro stripe with all those gorgeous 70s kitchen colors, which works so good for the fall motif. So that's going to be our supplies we're going to use. I am going to use a little bit of floral foam also. We're going to use a small block of floral foam, and I have got my glue pot here ready to go. So what we're going to do to start off with is I've got another video where we tied a bow with this, so we'll have that linked here, but our cute bow is ready to go. And we're going to start off by preparing our base. Now, when you work with something like this, you're going to want the head to be nice and straight, and her when we put elements on her, we can't have her hanging right or hanging left. We want her to hang straight off her little hanger that's built on there. So what I've done is I've got a small block of floral foam. I've carved out just a little section here so I can place it right over the grapevine and have this go right on the top of her hat. So once I know what I want going on, I'm going to put a little bit of glue on that over here and just get it ready. And you can come from the back and support this a little bit more with some floral pins if you want to. You've got a nice frame here. I would do that to make sure it's a little bit more secure. So let me grab my floral pins. They're in my little bucket. And I'll just grab a couple out of here. These dudes kind of help it stabilize it from the wires in the back. All right, now these may be a little too long, which they're a little long, so I'm gonna have to trim them. Trim them before they go in, guys, so they're not quite so long. You just trim them and make them a little shorter, okay? Because now I'm gonna have to go back and trim on the other side. The first one I put in is a little bit long and poking through, but trim it first. It's a little more neat and clean, and you won't poke yourself with it. So a couple of pins in just to help secure it. Those went right through the glue, and we are ready to go. Now, next step is we're gonna go ahead and get our base looking super fine by using these cute, this is a filler berry that works great in here. We're gonna use it like almost like a greenery. So what I want you to do is just take and tear these off into smaller little sections, just like this, and we're gonna do that on both stems. I'll put this other greenery down here and move these pumpkins out of the way. But I'm gonna use a couple of stems. I wanna make it nice and full. Just tear those off and cut these down really neat and clean. And then you are gonna be ready to put these on and start shaping out our base. Save your good wires. We can definitely recycle them and use them to put into other pieces. Now we're gonna start shaping out our base. So we wanna shake hands with each piece and make sure you're utilizing any good wires you've got going in there. Give that a swirl in your glue pot. You're gonna start to shape out your beautiful design here. And you want to take this simple wreath base and accentuate the lines of it. I love doing that, really kick them out here. So we're gonna use them opposite each other. I love that. And then we'll go a little bit shorter on each side so we can kind of have a whole look started here. Pop that one in, isn't that cute? And one here on the top. I like making it nice and full like this. And then you can manipulate these up for a little bit of movement. And we're gonna do the same thing down here at the bottom. And on these, I'm gonna overlap on the top a little so I can start kind of camouflaging my moss. My foam base, I always say that wrong, sorry. I call moss and foam the same thing all the time. It's a watermelon pumpkin thing. If you know, you know. I'm sorry. I don't know what my problem is with those. But you can see how fun these would be to make for your Etsy shop. They're quick shop fillers, and they're great for craft shows also because they sell fast and they're really quick to produce, which means you can kind of keep the price down when you're selling them. Okay, let me push this one back in. So you can see we've got a little dimension. We're working opposite each other, really nice and full. I love that. I'm gonna hold a couple of these pieces off. We're gonna use those more in the foreground. Now it's time for our cool pumpkin spray. I like to just take this, and we don't have to manipulate it too much, but we do have to take and cut off the pumpkins because we want to utilize them and position them exactly where we want them. So we're going to cut all the pumpkins off our main stem and then start to place them in. And I'm going to put a couple of pumpkins kind of coming down. I'm going to put like 2 below, one here, and that's cute down here by his cheek, and one a little shorter and tighter, maybe right there. So you can trim that wire. Go in right here. You're looking cute, Mr. Scarecrow. Look how cute that is. And then we'll put one above. So you can see that whole time we're leaving a space in the middle. And we call that the bow zone when we're designing. And the bow zone we leave empty because we're going to place a bow in there. Now some projects we may change that up a little, but in general, that's where the bow's going. So now you're going to tie your bow, and then we're going to be ready to place it in the center. You're going to need to take one of the floral pins that we use to secure the back of the scarecrow head, and we're going to put one right here in behind the bow, and then just swing this around underneath the cable tie so it pokes up. Now remember, these were a little too long, so we're going to cut them off just a little bit. Careful when you're cutting wires. Wear safety glasses or protection to make sure you don't get that in your eyes. I put some glue on there, and now we're placing this right in the middle. Look how cute this is. My gosh, isn't he so stinking cute? I love when we put the bows in. Cute bow. What a cute color combo. All right, let's put that up a little bit higher. I don't want to cover up his eyes too much. All right, bows in. Look how sweet. Now, we're going to take the last bush of greenery. We're going to work that all in, kind of in around the center of the design. So I'm going to push this all out and make this shorter, because I don't need these super long. This will work. It looks kind of like the hay that's part of our scarecrow, or the raffia. It's got that great texture. Okay, so trim that down after you've pushed it up, and we're going to start working these right in here around our pumpkins. Okay, so I'm going to take a couple of little longer pieces, and we'll put those on either side and really kind of soften the edges. Let's have one really long one go in the middle of those berry pieces we already put in. How cute is that? Oh, that layers up beautifully. Let's do the same thing on the other side. So you need 3 other pieces, like a long and a couple of short. Take that longest one, put it in the middle. It's gonna go right here in the middle. And as long as you're getting some glue on every piece going into the foam, it's going to go in there nice and secure and hold really great. That's that dense floral foam that's hard. It's not sandy, so it really works well. Now, we want to take these short pieces and put those in tight to the bow. So I'm going to make these even shorter, so gently push them up, and they're going to be like little pom-poms of fall floral. You're going to love this color. All right. And we're going to trim those short so their stems are very short, just like that. And let's put those in close to the bow. And I want these to work in here to fill in. Ah, cute. And we call that breaking the plane of the design. We use this a lot in design school, where we want to make the pieces in the wreath feel integrated with the florals. So we use a technique called breaking the plane, and that's a term I use, that we are always working things in our design. All right, we have our 2 little berry pieces. This is another design school tip. We're going to take something in the background, we're going to bring it to the foreground. Really important to have cohesiveness. So use these in little clusters. And we're going to bring these to the foreground of the design and place them in, just like that. Oh my gosh, beautiful. And how about these 2 to the top? So you can see, not only did we embellish this piece, but we did it on a super classy, high level, where she is adorable. She is next level. She is beautiful. We've got gorgeous pumpkins, gorgeous ribbons, where she's cute and whimsical, but she can mix in with your high quality floral designs that you've already created in your Etsy shop or for your home. You can see how you could make this really fast, and I hope you enjoy the process. In this kit, it comes with a pine base, and I love using pine bases because they are they have all the wires built in. And when they have the wires built in, the nice thing about that is you have an easier way to attach things. It just makes it so much simpler, you know, to put everything together when you're doing that. So I'm going to take this and open it up and get her going here, get her going, spread her out. Our supplies, we've got a kind of a classic combination here. We're going to stick with oranges. We stuck with traditional oranges and textures that are going to last you for seasons, that go every year for fall. So we went with a stripe, a solid, and then this really pretty open burlap weave that's got that little fluted edge. I think that's a little bit more feminine touch on there. It's a newer ribbon, and I love that combo. Now we're going to use the orange scarecrow head's going to be going in here. This also comes in the kit. She got the raffia hair, but she's got a little touch of that burlap, which pulls in that color in that ribbon. And then our greenery that we're going to start off with in just a second is this one. It's the long leaves with all that texture, and there's a little bit of orange on there, but a good green. And then we got a filler that has a little sunflower, berries, and a little bit of lighter green. You see how pretty those mix together. Really, really pretty. And then finally our berries. Oh gosh, these killer berries. I love these. And we're going to lose a little bit of pumpkin. So this one's loaded with floral and ribbon. It's a big kit. It's got a lot going on in it. So if you wanted to, you could downsize the swag and make a whole other project. You'll have enough ribbon and you can do 2 projects out of 1. So we're going to start off with our base first and getting our greenery in. Right, so I just pushed this up a little because I like to keep this long because I'm going to try to get into the pine to put my greenery in. So I'm going to keep that stem pretty long when I put them in, all right? So I'm going to trim these all really long, but I push them up about 4 inches, okay? So ideally we're going to set the perimeter, and you might hear me say that in design school. It's generally one of our first steps. And that means I'm going to put my greenery or my base floral stem or texture, whatever that is. Sometimes it might be a grass or like some kind of bush with some texture. Okay, I trimmed them both down. I kind of like using these doubled up and kind of creating a little bit of a flow when we're going here. So I'm going to put them on my little stool in front of me here. And we're going to use one high and one low is usually what I do, okay? So I take and kind of position them and I trim them to get one stem. I'm going to put my first one up the middle. Now I dipped it in the glue pot, okay? Oh, we're going to have to move the camera up. Sorry. There you go, guys, go. And now I'm going to crisscross right over that glue, okay? So when you're working with a pine base, that's the advantage. It's got glue holding it. I also just use the wires to hold it. So my first 2 pieces are in. So I've got a long and I've got a short. I put them together and they make just a little bit fuller bush that's a little bit longer. Then I trim, and I'm going to put that in on the right. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I've got the cough back. I'm telling you, these summer colds are relentless. Now I'm going to come in here to the right. I've kind of brought it to the center. And I'm going to crisscross these right over it to hold them tight. Just be careful you don't get that glue on you. Put that piece in. And so we're setting out our perimeter here. So we want to start to look at that line that we're creating. Now I'm going to come on the left. So there's a long and there's a short. And I'm going to layer those together in here. Hey, after we got back from volleyball and vacation, and we had my mom and my aunt, and I love them all, but you know how it is. You got a whole group of people, and then you have a break with just yourself. You're like, ah. It's so nice. All right, so I started with one high, one low, and one low on this side. Now they're kind of matchy-matchy. I'm okay with that in this position because we're going to be adding more layers. You're not going to really see it. Now I'm going to turn this around, and I'm going to create a hanger like midway here, so I can move it up and down on my workbench. Now, I'm doing that for video, but if you have, you want to work down on here, you don't need to bend over and move your body or look up. Feel free to do that on a swag. Adjust the placement and put twist a couple little hangers on the back so you can easily move it up and down on your workboard, and you're not bending over. Okay, so we're going to go from here down. I'm working from here down, okay? And we're going to work from them. So this one's going to go in here, and I'm trying not to go through the back. So that one went a little through the back, so I'm going to come around here and I'm going to grab it with some pine back here and make sure I'm sandwiching it in good. And this needs to still go up. There we go. It can go a little out because that's right at where we're going to be, the midline, but up or out, okay? And you can downsize any project. All right. I'm going to go just a little bit higher. Here's our transition little bump. Put that right through the middle and crisscross. And so what I'm paying attention to on the perimeter is I'm watching the cohesiveness. Are we still falling in line? Are we tapering? Does my arch look good over there? And nothing's just, squirting out too far. All right, let's continue down here. Now I'm shifting more down. I was out and up here. And now, here's the transition, so now I'm going down. I've got 4 pieces left, so we're going to now not make clusters. And we're going to use our little zigzag technique. This is a little bit lower, so I'll come across, and we'll start with one piece a little higher here. So now, I can't have these shooting out, right? I still want that shape to taper. So I'm going to push them in and make them a little shorter. So zigzag, so we're going to go in across and a little bit down. You're going to go in, you want to feel that go like right on top of that pine, and then I'm just twisting one around here. And we're just doing that so the glue touches a lot of pine and we have a little bit of wire. See how pretty it already looks already? It doesn't take much to start making these look nice and full. Coming out to the right, zigzagging, like a little cluster, just push it up. That's why we like pusher greeneries. Next step is we want to go ahead and put in I'm going to go ahead and put in my next filler before I get to even put in my bow or my scarecrow head, okay? I'm going to get these in next. Because these also work on the perimeter. These work out, but a little tighter. So with this spray, I just take and tear these down, and this is all part of the kit. So once you tear those stems down, you always have to kind of clean up the paper. It's super easy to work with that way, but you do have to clean up all this mess or you'll just have paper getting in your glue. So I'm going to fluff each one up. We call that shaking hands for those of you who are new and you don't know what I'm talking about. So literally you shake hands with each piece. That's why I called it that. Like, I came up with some of these terms training my staff at the warehouse how to, you have to take each piece and shake hands. And that's why we call it that. Now I'm going to go in between my greeneries, so I'm going to bring this down a little bit and we'll start up here. We're still going to follow the rules of placement. So I went in between here and I went in between here. Nobody went straight up. I'm filling in between with these. I'm going to slide this up when we go to the bottom. So now I'm going to go in between these two pieces of greenery. Remember, I'm below the transition so they still go down, okay? Because you can see if I put this here, how that fights the eye. You keep the flow going together. And I'm going to put these a little tighter to the center. Now I'm getting ready to put the scarecrow and a bow over here, but I still want these in the background, okay? All right, let's put our other piece in right here, right the same area, maybe a little bit higher. All right, let's go ahead and get our scarecrow in, but let me show you how pretty already, okay? Now I've got a little space here where we can put a little bit more. I've got this still. I have some berries, so we are going to fill in, but I didn't want to put too much till we get the head in and the bow in, all right? So we get everything set good. I'm going to put this guy in. I think I'm going to like him on a stem. I'm going to go ahead and put him on a stem, or I can also just take these wires and I can attach them to the wires with U-pins too. I've done it both ways. Let's try a stem first and see how that works. I'm going to get a good wire stem that I just put in the garbage. Okay. I've got this kind that's a little bendy. It's kind of hard wire. So this came off the base of a floral, okay? So I can see a bunch of glue here where I put the stick in, so I'm going to go ahead and take and put some moss over that to hide it, okay? I'm going to put this in at an angle a little bit down right in here. You see how that's going to fit in there perfectly? Now I'm going to put glue and I'm going to tie it around and get that in. We're going to use the same technique. Oh, it's fantastic. All right, now our bow's going to go over here right beside it. That's in, that looks good. If you feel like your head is not sitting good enough, like I can come in with a backup plan and I can use a U-pin here. It's a U-pin, it's a floral pin that's shaped like a U, it's wire basically. I can grab some of this pine, right? I grab a piece of this pine and then I put the U-pin over it, it's dipped in glue, and then I'm going to take and shove a couple of those in the back of the head. If you've never seen me design a whole lot, I'm big on construction being lasting a long time because we're going to ship our stuff, or I'm going to tote it to craft shows. It's going to shake, shake, shake in shipping or the trailer. And so I need to make it sure it's going to survive. I don't want somebody to open their wreath and the main part fall out. That would just mortify me. So I'm always going to do a little bit more to secure it. So that's what I'm going to be doing where you can't see behind here. I'm just going to put that in, okay? And I got the hat I got to go through here. It's going. And then once I get it into that foam, the head is foam. I love carrying those type of components. It's good. It's locked in, okay? All right, here's our bow, okay? And this I want to cut it over to the side. See how cute that is? I'm just going to tuck that right under her little head. I'll leave a little bit of space, but not much. I'm going to take a couple of these cables. These are wires that are part of the wreath, right? And I'm going to attach it over a couple of them, and then I'm going to, once I get it attached, that cable tie, you will not be able to see any of this, but all I do is then I take and I fold these over it, right? So now the bow cannot be pulled off, right? It's tight. That's what we're going to do in here, okay? And I want it to be opposite. Okay, that is stinking cute already. I love this. Now, we may put some more tails in. I don't know yet. I want to make sure this bow is not sticking out too far. I'm going to push it in just a little bit just by bending those wires back. I want it to be in the foreground, but I'm going to kind of mix it in a little. All right, that's cute. I love that we just stayed like true orange on this. Let's get in here. And now we're going to put some berries in there too, okay? So these berries, I like to take these and just cut them into little sections if you can. Pull these down and they'll come off in their own little berries, and we can use them individually. And that way you can spread them out everywhere. Okay? Pull them all out. Once again, save these wires for, we can use that. It's the same type of wire that I used to put in the scarecrow head. And we're going to just start to put these in. These are going to work as our texture, like our twig. You don't have to have both, you can, but in this case I'm just going to use the berries. Okay, these are going to go in a little bit tighter, and I'm going to keep them into the pine, and they're going to go in, they're not going to be shooting out, they're going to be in tighter to the base, and I'm going to use them in between the pieces I already have. So you can see here I'm using the berries tighter to the base, but I'm keeping them following the pattern that we've been doing, where the direction changes once I get past the bow, okay? So I'm still kind of coming out when I come into these areas. Now I'm putting a lot of glue on these because I'm not really wrapping them in the wire a whole lot. They're just kind of coming on the top layer. Unless I feel like I can get a wire right there, I could get a wire around it. Okay, so let's move it up and we'll keep adding texture as we go down. See how cute this is? Me too. I think it's just a pretty color palette, and it's a safe choice too. Okay, I got my triangle forming. Now I'm going to just zigzag the rest of the way down, okay? I love these. These turn out so pretty. So 2 more. You may have to trim them a little. And I know this one's kind of a long video today, but now I just put that berry right into the bow, just on the side. Okay, I'll put a couple in there. I've got 2 left, so I'm going to go back to the top. We're going to use a couple at the top. And I'm just put a couple in a little bit, filling it a little tighter around the head. All right, keep these really short and sweet right in here. I'm going to wrap this one. Oh, that's so cute. And then I'm going to put this one in here. And I'm still staying with the shape. These go up. Okay. Well, I think it's adorable too. I think it's so sweet. I love using, like something cute in with the gorgeous florals and ribbon too. Now, if you don't want to use a scarecrow in here, that's not your vibe. All I'm going to do is I'm going to move the bow up a little. I can keep the same angle. I'll just probably add some tails coming down, but you don't have to use a scarecrow head in here at all. Now, I want a little more berries coming out the top here. So what I'm going to do is, this one I haven't broke down yet. This is my last berry spray. So I'm going to take this one and cut it into a couple of pieces, okay? So I'll have a long one for the middle and then some with a little bit of longer stem down here. All right, and here's this. Oh, that looks really good right up the middle. That filled that in nicely. And then I'm gonna just break this one down and we'll use a couple more loosely in there. I think we got enough height with that middle one. I put one more there. I'm gonna bring it back up. We're gonna fill in just a little bit more with berries. And then the last thing we're going to have is our cool pumpkins to put in. And I really want those to kind of be in the foreground, you know. It's great to have, you know, you don't know it at the time. But later you're like, oh my gosh, my parents they never told me no. I mean, my dad's at craft shows with me, working his tail off. My mom is schlepping stuff and like, okay, we can do that and we're going to go here and we can help you. I mean, there's never a no. Like, unbelievable. So, you know, that's why you see me like, oh, Kai's got volleyball. We're going, guys. I got to go do it. Because I just think there's no better way to support your child. If you can, you know, I realize there's sometimes you can't, but if you can. Oh, that looks so good. I love putting these berries in there. I'm going to put one more kind of coming up here out of the bow. I guess you don't really realize it at the time. And then in the same way, your parents might do some things you realize, okay, I mean, they're not perfect. I'm not perfect. But I think it's kind of like taking in, using that experience like both ways. Look how pretty this is. This is turning out so pretty, guys. All right. Now, our pumpkins are kind of our whimsical pieces that we're going to put in the foreground to add that little whimsy. Tear it down and put this guy in next. So we're going to use these pumpkins to accentuate this line or kind of go with it. Now, I didn't put any more ribbon in going in the bottom, and that's fine. We're going to keep it no more ribbon. But I want to kind of work the line in from here to here with the pumpkin. So I'm going to take my first one. It's going to go behind his head, kind of maybe sit on top of his hat here, and go up above, like something like this. Okay, this is like our pumpkin twig. I'm going to put that in next. Now this is where this arrangement's going to get a little funky. It might be uncomfortable. So you can opt out. You can opt out of this part. Save this for something else when you get the kit, okay? You don't have to do this part. If you're just like, Keleas, I just like it neat and clean, I'm good, stop here. You are fine. All right, I'm going to put this one in. I'm going to get a lot of glue on it. On my stem, try to. Just going to go right in above behind his head. Here, nice and tight. And I'm going to wrap him with some pine because I feel like that could get yanked out. When it's a twig, it's kind of up at the top here. I'm going to try to curl it just a little bit. If we can get it. Oh, perfect. So I got a fun, funky little thing going on here. Now, this hat I think would be cuter if I could just kind of flip it up a little. So I'm just going to do that slightly. Right there. Let these bangs be happening. And let me pop a little glue behind it. I'm going to hold that hat up. And then we're going to put a little bit of a flower or something on here to camouflage it. Now I'm just going to hold this for a second. But you could also just take some clothespins or one of those bigger clothespins and just kind of clip it and walk away. You don't have to sit here and do that. All right, now let me I have this spray left too. So once that sets up, we'll come back and we're going to embellish with a little bit of this piece. Right now we're going to go below and finish with our pumpkins. And we're going to do that line I'm talking about. We're going to accentuate the line, okay? So we got our pumpkins working up here that you can't see anymore. Now we're going to come down. Just like these pumpkins grew behind, they came down here and now they're coming out of the bow. All right, so we're going to take the next stem. You see how happy twigs get me? I jump around. So cute. There's our line working from here to here. It's coming out, and I'm going to grab a piece of pine to kind of double secure this. And I want this to kind of move out, so I'm going to, there we go, I'm going to kind of roller coaster, get a flow going. I love making this one. This is so pretty. All right, and then I want to just continue that line down a little bit more. So these are like your cascading tails of your ribbon. I'm going to put the last pumpkin in, kind of coming from behind here, but around. So give it like a little bit of a curve, and that'll look right there. We got a little bit more embellishing to do on the hat. All right, let's do the hat. Yeah, it's so cute. I love the little pumpkins on the top. And it just looks really, really good. All right, so now we're gonna make this little mini arrangement here, talking about horizontal swags. We're gonna make a baby horizontal swag right here on this hat to try to tie it all together. So there's one big leaf here. Let's put that in the background. And you're just gonna start to take and gently cut these things off and glue them on. All right, here's a little bit of greenery. I'm going to kind of layer over that. And just putting a little glue on there, and then I'm just kind of tucking it all in. We're going to hide it in a minute from when we get all the, oh gosh, yeah. Let that kind of get into those pumpkins. That's so cute. All right. Get in here. I'm going to just tuck it there because I need it to hold on. Okay, and a little green. What? Stay put. I'm not going to put foam or anything there. We're just going to make this little doodad work by just gluing it, because I'm going to put a flower over the center. So we're just taking that one stem apart. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put the flower in. I just cut it really short. I'm going to put a bunch of glue, and we're going to gob it right there. And now I still should be able to tuck a little bit more behind it. You could have done this beforehand too, but I kind of do it last only so I can just see what I want to put in here to go with what I got going on, you know? Get in there. Perfect. Okay. And let me put a little berry in there. Here's a little berry. No. I know the glue's hot. You may have to just hold it for a second because it's not happy. You melted off what you just glued on. You can always put a little foam, guys, if it's easier. A little berry coming down. That's so cute. And let me put a little something on this side. And I'm going to steal a little greenery from the back. Just a couple of little leaves, like I cut off a little bitty leaf here. I think these are just so fun too. Kind of letting these pieces kind of go in with the hair, the little yellow. And now I'm going to put a couple little greeneries. Only thing I might have to do after these set up is come get these little glue strings. There's a couple of little ones, but I'm afraid if I pull them, you know, it's going to pull them out. There we go. That's so cute. Now, Now it doesn't feel like it doesn't stand out. It just melds right in, right? Now we got a little bit of this pick left, and I'd like to soften the bow just slightly more so it also feels a little more cohesive. So I'm going to take and just cut this down into its little sections, and we're going to put these into the bow too. So separate it out and just cut these into their own little sections. So there's 1, here's 2, and here's 3. All right. And so I like to do that with this type of design in the bow itself. Now that doesn't mean I'm gluing it to the ribbon or anything like that. I just kind of, I'm trying to go into the design right behind the, where the bow is attached. So you can see me going into the pine back here, pulling up that ribbon, trying to get it back in here. There we go. And then I'm just going to kind of wiggle that between. So now that comes out of there. All right. See how pretty this looks? That softens it up a lot. I'm gonna put one more in here. Y'all, this is so stinking cute. We knocked it out the park. Look at this. We crushed it. Here's the top. I'm going to go through it slowly. Look at this bow. Like, we crushed it around the bow now. Oh, and the pumpkins continuing that line through there. We didn't really go crazy on twigs with this, but I think all those berries just add that nice wispiness. Hey, Bloomerinos, it's Keleas. Let's play with some beautiful fall supplies to make the cutest little scarecrow centerpiece. So we've got our adorable scarecrow, and she is going to be like our focal point in the design. We're going to kind of put her in last, but what I want you to do is kind of find the spot she's going to go in. We're going to play with her. We're going to jazz her up a little. I want to pull her little hat back and make her super duper cute. But she's pretty tall, but we need to kind of get her in, you know, decide where she's going to go. And I usually like my larger pieces to be off to the side. So if she's going to go right here, you may not be able to see her whole body right this second. But I think if she's going to go right here off to the side, what we will do is I will leave that spot open for us to put her in towards the end, and we'll start building out the base first, okay? So I'm going to put her over to the side. She can sit over here and patiently wait for us to get her beautiful abode rocking and rolling. So we're starting with the cutest little metal container. It's kind of in the same color palette as her vest. And we're going to be using this spray right here for the bulk of the greenery. Leaves, cute little berries, all the great accents. So that's going to go in here to fill up. I've got some fun twigs. Those are a lot of fun to kind of give that rustic look. These are artificial. I love them because they don't shed or anything like that. And then over here for the height in our design, we'll use this. This is a peony bush that has these cute little blooms on it that are really, really easy to work with. All right, so let's get rocking and rolling. I've got 2 pieces of floral foam already mounted in. Those are glued in, ready to go. I like these handles on either side. When I order things to resell, I get things that are going to work great for shipping for those of you who sell. So these have these nice handles that are easy to attach if you're going to ship your items. If not, they still work great for all the different seasons. It's just a beautiful color palette. All right, so we're leaving that section open, and what you could even do is just kind of give yourself a little X here. Don't put anything right in here because that's where Mrs. Scarecrow is going to go. So I'm just going to put me a little mark with some scissors on that part. And let's start getting our greenery ready to go in. Now, if you're not already liking and subscribing and following, please do that so you won't miss any of our content. I love when we're putting out new videos to help show you how to do beautiful things for your home every season. And y'all know everything that you see me using here is available at Keleas.com. And when we do a project, we have the supply list for you at Keleas.com. And then you can head over there, and anytime you click on a supply list, there will be a link to that video. If a video is password protected, that means it's a private video for our design school. And you are always welcome to join Design School when it's open for new students, or get on our wait list. All you got to do is head over to KeleasDesignSchool.com, or you can go to wreathsteacher.com to help you grab a spot in our class. Now, I just tore those pieces off, and then I just cut them off really nice and neat. And let's start what we call creating our perimeter. Whether we're making a wreath or a centerpiece, we have changes in direction, and we have to create the perimeter to kind of give us a guideline for what we're doing. So we know we're going to go tall over here. We're going to have a lot of fun with all the width on this design right now, and we're going to do what we call set the perimeter. So this piece is going to go in, and I'm going to let it kind of break the plane of the container and just come over the edge. All right, that one's going off on the right, and this is going to come over the left. Now I'm going to have feet there, so I want to go right beside where her feet are going to go. Now when you work with high quality materials like we sell on Keleas.com, you're able to manipulate those wires all kind of really nice. You don't have to use extra pick machines and take a lot of extra steps because it's all done for you in the quality product. All right, and this piece, let's have it kind of move to the front. I think we'll have it go this way, back out to the right. Let me pull our twigs over. We're gonna work with those in a second. But I wanna show you this one going to the front of the design. Now this is my electric skillet with hot glue right beside me. And it has got everything we need to put these pieces in. Look at this. How pretty. So these are kind of spilling over. All right. Now, I'm not going to worry about too much on the back right now. We're going to make this a one-sided design just to keep our costs down a little bit. We'll fill in back here, but we want this to be pretty. It could go on a hall table, somewhere it's against the wall. Maybe you have a mirror behind it, and then it'll just look pretty in front of that or something like that for location. Now, I want to put some twigs in, kind of going in between each one of these sections. So I'm going to grab my little twig piece, pull it out, and we will start to make our own little clusters of twigs. Super easy to do. Just take and cluster it like this. Bring it on itself so you make kind of a little loop with the tail. So when this goes in, it's a little cluster like this. Now how you hold that together is you need a cable tie. So I'm going to grab one right here and just make myself a little cluster of twigs. So anytime you work with a drapey type product, there's times you don't want it to drape quite as much. You can make your own little cluster. So I just cluster that up just like that, and we're gonna put that main stem. We need that main stem because it's strong, and that's gonna go right in front of the little feet over here, and we want it just to pop over the edge. Oh, so cute. Let's make another little cluster for the other side. I gotta grab some more cable ties. Here they are. All right, now let's put one on that side. So I'm gonna cut another long one. And basically I'm trying to get that strong stem. And then we can just let it kind of drape over. Let me cut it a little bit. Let me take a little bit out. Tell you what, the stem is still strong here. So I can use this kind of standing up in the arrangement, and I'll take a couple of these more drapey ones and attach it to here, okay? So basically just make your own little clusters. Loop it around. All right, we got our cute little cluster, and we can pop that in the design right there. It's fun to be whimsical with these pieces. I love that little touch. All right, let's get this tight. All right, and then we're gonna have this kind of come down, just like that. Cut the end of your cable top off. Today I'm using the long ones because I have those in brown, and those will be so pretty coming in here. Just like that. Isn't that cute? Look at her. Look how cute. I'd like to go ahead and get our scarecrow in. But before we do that, let's get her looking super cute. Let's jazz her up a little. So I'm just gonna lay her down. We're gonna give her a little light surgery. I think it's cute when her little hat kind of pops up a little bit, where we can kind of get it folded back. And because this hat doesn't have any wire built in, we're gonna take and just glue that down right here at the top. So I'll use my electric skillet with the hot glue, and we'll just bring that right into the top. Let's put a little of that coming out of the, I'm gonna put a little glue just gently up here. Now I don't want to push too hard because it'll push that up burlap, and then we'll push that right on top. You can add more florals and goodies. Let's put one on the other side, kind of coming behind her. I'm just cutting off some little pieces from in the design. So I like that a little bit better. I can see her face better. And then I'm just gonna hold this here and let that get set up. And then once she's ready, we're gonna go ahead and I like to kind of manipulate her arms a little bit, straighten out her dress, and then we're gonna put her into our container. So we've got the front done. We got her little hat ready with the twigs. And now I'm ready to go ahead and put her right up here in that same section we talked about for our container. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put some glue on her feet just to get her, we can just glue her straight in, and then we're gonna use a wire to secure her also. So let's dip her into our glue pot. Be careful because that's a lot of glue that's gonna go under those little feet. Now I want you just to slide it off. Okay, in design school we use the electric skillet a lot to heat up our glue. It's just a really great way to manage our easy placement. Now, you have to be careful if you're not using something besides the Scarecrow. She's super lightweight, but if you put something heavy over here or backward, it could flip over your container. So always think about, okay, what am I using? How much weight do I have going? She's fine, that's gonna work good. Just because I like to double secure this, I'm gonna take, this is an 18 gauge wire, and we're just gonna take, and I'm gonna go around one of her cute little feet up here. And I'm just gonna do a little crisscross, so I've got enough wire to go into my base. So all I'm doing is crisscrossing it around, and then this can push into the base to help secure it right there. I'm gonna do it on our other leg. Now you're not gonna see any of this, it's gonna be over here in the back. But now I have extra plans to hold her on, besides glue, just in case she were to get picked up by her head and move her arrangement. So this is gonna push down into the foam. So I'm just kind of getting a little bend on it, and I wanna put a little glue on the ends before I push it in. Okay, so that's kind of our backup plan. I'm always teaching you to have a backup plan for placement, security. I'm not big on just shoving things in, putting glue in. We have a lot of strategy when it comes to placement, why we're putting things where we're putting them, the lines we're creating with our design, all of that stuff, because you guys can continue to improve your creations, whether you're making it for yourself or you want to sell them or you want to learn all the things and do videos and have, you know, your own social media where you're creating. I'm going to help you learn how to do all that properly. So she's in nice and strong. She's got her backup plan and she's looking super duper cute. We're going to put a bow in, okay, because it's going to fill up a lot of real estate. And I think I want the bow to be like right about kind of here, tucked in to her feet. I need to leave some room beside her because that's where we're putting this bush. So we've got a whole plan here. What I want you to do with this is take, if you need the link to how to make this bow, just let us know in the comments. But I want you to take one of your extra spare pieces of wire that you cut off another stem. That's what I'm using here. It came off this long one, has a nice long piece of wire. And we're just gonna take and tie this cable tie on there so that we get a nice long stem where I can place it in our arrangement. Now get it tight, put a little glue on that end because we're gonna make sure it's not gonna pull out. And we don't want it coming out, gotta stay in there, otherwise it'll be yanking off your whole design. Okay, just wiggle that around a little bit. Okay, she's in, our cute little bow is ready, and we're gonna put her in right there. So I'm gonna just rotate her kind of to the top of this wire and bend her just a little bit. I gotta give her a little bend. There she is, good. And I'll put her in right there and make her a little bit shorter. All right, now the next move is to put a little glue on the end of the wire. I'm bringing the glue to it just because it can end up getting all these tails in your arrangement. We don't want that. So that's kind of gonna go to the front here and tuck in right by her feet. I'm leaving this space open because that's where we're gonna be coming in here in the back, and we're gonna be putting that big floral bush, okay? So Bo's in, she's looking so sweet here. She's so cute. She got a pumpkin in her hands. Now we're ready to use this big floral bush. Okay, so I'm gonna put her to the side for a second while we prep this one up. Basically, I want you to hold it up. If it were to be this length and is that long enough, that's a little bit short. I'd like it to be a little bit higher than her and a little bit of combo of both. So what we're gonna wanna do is try to tear this so we can get a little longer wire. So usually when you tear down a bush, you can get a longer wire. And that's what we're gonna try to do here. So I'm going to tear them all. And then you do have to trim the little messy part off at the bottom because you want to be able to have a clean way to put it in your arrangement. So just break that down, take off those last couple of inches so they're still very long. And we've kind of done that with the entire bush. Now, let me bring her back to the middle here and let's start to reconstruct this bush right beside her. All right, so the first piece that's going to go in is going to be the tallest. I'm putting that right by her head right here. This is so cute, look at her. All right, number one piece going in a little bit taller than her head, and that is perfect. There's another tall piece here too, and we're going to sort of put those back to back so we have them right next to each other. So you're kind of paying attention to the length of the stems when we got them off that bush, and we're going to take and now work a little shorter. So when I bring this one in, let's take a look. Oh, perfect. You see how it's a little shorter? Coming a little lower. That's exactly what we want. And I'm tucking this right in front of the bow, right beside her. See how cute that's coming together? All right, I'm gonna bring it in. If it's a little tall, like I'm ready to go lower, I'm gonna cut a little off and we'll just let this start to go a little bit lower. We've got a couple high, but that's enough. And we're ready to rock and roll lower. I think I'm gonna put one more lower. And then I'm already ready. I want to take a little of this bush and let's pretend like this grew right up beside her, but a little bit grew over here too, because that's cute. A little bit grew on this side. So we're going to cut these shorter, and these are going to come over here down to where her feet are. Because she's in a sweet little scarecrow fall garden. She got some cute flowers growing in here with her. And that's going to just pop out this side just a touch. Just a touch. You can give those a little bend to kind of break the plane. Isn't that super cute? Look at her. She's looking so cute. Oh my gosh. Super cute. Let me turn her to me just a little bit. Let me just double check. I think we'll put one more flower right here. Kind of coming a little bit lower. So when I cut this one, I'm going to get a couple of pieces, but I'll just keep them bundled together and hold it as a cluster. And we'll just put this in right here in front of her feet. We'll get a little bit of touches of that floral going in good. Yes, yes, she's looking so cute. All right, let's take our last floral bush. We're gonna need this to fill in the back and kind of clean up what we got going on back here. We just need a little bit back there and a little bit more to the front. So take this one and break it down. Don't forget to save this good wire. This one has a good wire that we can reuse like we used to put the bows on. So definitely do that. We're going to clean off that nasty part of the paper because we don't want that just building up and, you know, getting in our glue. All right, so let me pick what I think is my shortest piece, and I'm going to use that kind of in the front. And I want it to kind of cascade out over the other sections that we already had. Now, I accidentally just pulled that leaf out, and that's fine. I'm going to thin it out a little bit. I'm going to pull both of those leaves out because we'll use those in a second, but I want to just get to the pretty filler part here so that I can layer that on top of these other leaves we already got in here. So basically you guys can take a part of pick anytime and use part of it in one section of the design and part in another. Okay, let's do that again. I'm going to keep the leaves off, pull the green pretty rose leaf off, just pull it straight. It should pull out. Easier said than done sometimes, right? Might have to tear it. Has a good wire. You can cut it too also if you want, just cut it right here. I just want to try to get some of that good wire because it'll be easier to reuse. You know, where I'm going to put it in here. All right, turn in front of me again. Oh, you're looking so cute. Let me fluff your bow just a little. I'll bring my bow down just a hair. All right, I want to use another piece of the twig kind of coming over her little feet over here. I gotta move this out. That was kind of tucked under her dress. Now there's not a lot of places to go, but I'm gonna go right between her feet here into the foam. And then that can kind of come out. Okay, see how cute she's looking now? She's looking good. Now I saved all these leaves. These can go in the back here. Remember, I don't need to use anything fancy in the back. These are the same color palette. So I'm gonna tuck these right back here by me. And what we're doing is we're using these as a filler right now. So they're just filling in. Okay, so there goes one. All right, here goes 2. Right in here. Okay, I'm gonna turn her around again so I get the last 2 in. She's spinning. She's spinning with us. You want to hear that crunch into the foam so you know it's going in nicely. Here comes one more. I got a little glue string going on. So we separated the leaves because you know what? We wanted to see a little more, I want to be able to see these fun fillers and not, you know, layer up the leaves at that point. She is cute, guys. Okay, one more pick. I do have more twigs. Now, I've been using this bunch of twigs on a couple of different projects. So we could even make a cute little twig bunch for the back here. Let's do that. Here's that longer piece we had where we said we're going to put some twigs kind of shooting up. So let's do that. Let me see how tall this one could be. So you need a little strength to hold it up. So you have to kind of trim it to where they're not too floppy. Because this bush is really made just to stand up and it's made to hang down, not stand up. But you can trim it off and still get like a few cute little spiky bushes. So let's put those in here. I'm going to do that right now. Because I love adding twigs. Whether they're artificial or real twigs, they're some of my favorite things to add to your piece, especially fall and Christmas. Because it's just that natural vibe. I love that. Come in here, baby. This one, I'm just putting one on either side of that cluster we have made at the beginning. Isn't she cute? Look how cute she's getting! Y'all, I can't wait to see yours like this. Okay, now I've got some floppy twigs here still. Let me pull that off. If you see that, that's like a support piece when they're molding these florals. So if you ever see like a piece of plastic that doesn't belong, you can just pull that off. All right, I need one more piece that stands up. Let's see how much height he can take. Let's try here. Cut those off. So I'm just cutting it off to where I get a nice strong piece. There we go. So these could be my floppy ones that go in that hang over the edge. And I'm gonna put this one, let's see. We'll put one more right beside her right here. That'd be a perfect little spot to add a little more twig by her body. Because this one we can kind of make her hand, put it up by her hand right here. We put one a little lower, but this one's a little taller. Okay, look how cute. It's up here by her hand. Doesn't that look great? Okay, we're gonna make a little twig cluster now with a couple of these pieces. So I'm gonna take and cluster a couple, and we're gonna have these kind of come out of the back. So let me push these into the foam right here. I'm gonna put this in the back right by her shoes. Okay. So we got some twigs rocking right in the middle here. And then let's put a little each of these on either side. Okay, I'm gonna just glue this one in over here. This one I gotta get in that section right between her feet, which we can do, and it can come out on that side. And then let's have this one over on the right. I think we're kind of in the home stretch, and she turned out so cute. I've got one pick left that we probably will take and divide up. And maybe put like a little bit of berry here in the back, because she looks pretty good as far as her berries. Oh, let's put a little in between the bow. I changed my mind. Let's kind of what we call break the plane of the bow. So we break it up a little bit with some floral or greenery. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna pull out the leaf again. So this we can use in the back, but I wanna use these fun little pieces to break the plane of the bow. So what I'm gonna do is cut this into a couple of sections so I can easily work with it. A tall one and a short one. All right, and this kind of came apart a little when I was working with it. If you wanna make your own little cluster, just take one of the strong wires, just go around, okay? And now you've made your own little cluster without having to get any more equipment or anything. We just worked with what we had. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna layer this between the bows. So this is gonna go in here. I'm getting into the foam, and then we're gonna pull that through. See how we can pull it out right there, and it's kind of coming out of the bow. So it gives the impression that the flowers just grew all in around the whole arrangement. Let me look at it one more time. Let's do one over here on the other side. Give that a swirl. And I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna turn her back to you just a second. This one, I don't wanna burn myself. I gotta see what I'm doing. And then pull that up through the tails of the ribbon. So that's coming up through the loops and the tail, and you can see how cute she is. Hey, Bloomerinos, we're getting ready to play with our latest kit. And on this one, you're looking at all the supplies that come in this kit. You've got 3 full rows of ribbon, the scarecrow head, this great wreath base, the coordinating pumpkin that we're going to use in there, our greenery, our luxury berries, and this gorgeous sunflower bush over here that has all the great filler. So this is going to be elegant but classic. It's going to scream, hey, I am ready for fall. And this one is great because it just has a scarecrow, so you can use it for fall and Halloween if you want to. It's a great mix of both. So let's get started. We're going to have fun with this. Y'all, so we actually make the ribbon, the bow out of these ribbons on a separate video. So what you want to do is, if you don't know how to make bows and you need to learn how, you're going to need to let us know in the comments so we can get you the bow video as well. And if it doesn't come, the bow video sometimes comes out after the project. Don't worry, we will still get you a link to it there. You can always ask, and we're happy to help you with that. So this particular project, what you are going to need that doesn't come in the kit is going to be, you're going to need a little bit of floral foam, just a small block. We're even going to cut this down smaller. You'll need a few floral pins because I keep these in this little box, but these right here help us secure everything to the base. So we're going to need those. And a couple of little wooden dowels would be great because that's how we'll put in our pumpkin and our scarecrow heads. You need a couple of those. And then you're going to need all your wreath making tools. And of course, over here, we've got our glue skillet that we're going to be using to glue things on. So let's dive right in and get this party started. So the first thing we do is kind of prepare our base. We like to use floral foam when we're going to attach a lot of things to these type of bases, but there's supports run along these grapevine pieces. So you can't just attach things to this fabric. You have to think about how you're putting it on. So I'm going to take a little scrap of foam I have left from a design school project, and we're going to take and slice that kind of in half. So I use my big knife here, slice this down, careful. It's so crunchy, but a nice thin piece here. And the key is I want this to be able to get from each piece of that vine to vine, kind of right in the middle, a little bit up in the middle. So right there would be perfect. I am going to put some glue on the back, and then we're going to glue it here first. But then we're going to take those floral pins and we're going to come around these wire supports in here to hold this in place. So I've got my electric skillet good to go. And I'm going to kind of get rid of some of the glue in the middle, but kind of leave it heavy on each end. So we got kind of a little bit of like a thin smear on there, but not as much in the middle. So we're going to take and push that on the grapevine. Perfect. Now gently come with the fabric. You need to be very careful because that glue is hot. Touch that fabric to the back. That's just to make it look pretty. We are not going to expect that fabric to take any weight. It won't work. Now come on these sides, dip these in glue too, and while it's hot, let's come on the sides and get on into that grapevine and into the foam. I'm using my U pins for that. If you're not already in design school, guys, these are some of the supplies we use as our everyday components when we're creating U pins, and the floral foam. Those are normal pieces. But our kits are a great way to get started. And as you kind of explore, you do a few kits, then come join us in design school as well, where you can kind of expand your creative process and learn more and more and more. Where I teach all the principles of designs. But these projects we're doing here together are just a perfect starting point, you know, because they're usually easy. Oh, dang it. That was hot, y'all. I put the glue on it first. I got it. Not too bad. I'm coming through the back, but I'm also hitting that grapevine, okay? I'm going to go over here. So I'm going through the grapevine from the back, and I'm going right into my foam as well. So we can keep doing that. Okay, I've got 4 pieces. I'm going to do 2 more. Keleas design school students will tell you I'm overly constructive. I want to make sure things don't fall apart. I did craft shows for 17 years as my main job, y'all, after leaving my teaching career to do them and be in this creative, um, the creative lifestyle and making money with my crafts. And kind of neat because the melding of my teaching, previously teaching school, and then the creative aspect have melded together now where I get to teach design school. So it's really, really fun. But they'll tell you I over construct things. I want to make sure they last and they are really well made. So you're going to see me do that a lot. Now that we have our foam in, this is what everybody's going to go into and attach to. So you need to start playing with where you think you want your pieces to go. And anytime you see me make something and you buy one of our kits, no, it's just a guideline. You don't have to follow it directly. You can improvise and change things up. You might want to use less and take some of the supplies from the kit and make something else with those too. You just know when you get a kit that the collection goes together so nicely. So I'm thinking about having the scarecrow head down low and the bow up high. Let's see if we like that. I don't know. Now remember, we mowed our bow on another video. So if you need the link for the bow, you just need to ask. So we could do it like this. Okay, that's an option. Or I'm thinking maybe down low and scarecrow head up high. I think that's cute too. Let's see. What if we put the bow here, kind of off the corner of the foam, right? And we can have floral going off that too. And then we tuck our scarecrow head right in there to the tails of the bow. What do you think about that? I think I'm going to go with that. You play with it all kind of different ways and you decide what you like, but I think I love that one. So my first step is going to be knowing my design, how it's going to come together. I'm going to get this bow in. And on the bow, we're going to add a floral pin to the back so we can glue it right into our foam. So you're going to take and add one of those U pins into the cable tie. And we'll get that nice and tight. Just put it to the side for a second. Pull that really tight. And then take your wire cutters, trim that off. And then I'm just going to rotate this around. And then we'll put some glue on here and we'll be able to put her right in the edge of that foam. So I'm going to bring a little glue over. And let's just tuck that right in. Okay. Right up here on the top edge of the foam. And we're going to push that in. And that bow can go right there. Now go ahead and take your tails and separate them out. Because our plan is to put our scarecrow head right here when we get to that part of the design. But we've got lots more fun pieces to go in. Now our cute pumpkin, I know I kind of want it tucked opposite the scarecrow. So if I put him here, right, and I know this pumpkin's going to pop in right up here, just tucked into these ribbons. So super cute. So you want to kind of think about the angle you're going to want to put them in. And I always like to pay attention to the stem as well. I was just teaching that in design school, that we need to alternate those stems. So thinking about how everything's going, I want you to grab one of your skewers and kind of put that at an angle so it can pop out the correct way when we get ready to have it in the foam. So you might need an awl to do this. I'm going to wiggle this in first and see if I can get it in. Okay, so I kind of pre-did my hole. Now I'm going to come in with my glue on it, push it in there, and just twist it while you're going in. That helps you get into that foam, okay? So it's a little bit of an angle, and then I'm going to push this into the foam. So cut it down a little. Sometimes that goes flying, so I usually like to put that against the table. There's my foam. And remember, I can't go too super tight. I got to have it kind of poking out of my bow. So something like that. All right, cute. It's so cute already. Now Mr. Scarecrow is going to wiggle in right about here and be opposite that pumpkin. One of the things that you do learn in design school is all about the angles and the lines you're creating. So I want to work opposite. And so that means I've got to attach him in to the foam right down here. So I'm going to try to do that same move where this comes in this way. So that way he can poke in right there, right? So I need this to be at an angle here. So I just take and poke him in. And let's just make sure that's going to work before I glue it. I think that'll work. I'm going to make it a little bit flatter of an angle. There we go. I think that is perfect. All right. So I'm going to go in there and glue that in. I think I would be comfortable if we did a couple of dowels just for safety. Once again, I warned you. I'm always thinking about, I want my customers to have a piece that's really going to hold up well. And even if you're making it for yourself, you want it to be able to withstand, some torture from the rest of the family. All right, I'm going to dip those two in the glue pot and get those dowels glue on them. And then these are going to go into the foam right into here. And just tuck. Oh, that's perfect. Oh, look how cute everything is. I love the angles on this. It looks great. Okay, so some ribbon tails come out behind the head, some come in front. This is pretty stinking cute already, guys. But nope, we're not done. Now we're going to build up our florals around here. So let's grab our greenery bush because it's kind of going to be our filler. And this is a boxwood that has the fall colorations. So what I like to do with it is just push it up a little bit. Rotate these ever so slightly as you're going up. Okay. And start to create more of clusters with them. Once I've done that, I'm going to trim these off and don't go too short. Keep them pretty long because we have to work around some elements in here. So we're going to start with right behind the head and just pop these right into that foam. I'm going to have one piece kind of coming out this way from the bow. And we're going to work back from there. This greenery is kind of the go behind. The neat thing is we've kind of covered up all of our actual foam with the bow and the scarecrow head. So now you're just creating this background. There's really nothing to hide. I'm going to pull that up and really get in there. I had to lean way over. I'm sorry if I was in the camera. I got to get in here to this foam. There we go. So those three pieces are in there. Now let's work on the other side. So I'm going to bring it over a little. And we want to kind of balance the size. I want to make sure when I'm going into here, I'm about the same size. Similar. So I'm going to put this one behind our little pumpkin. So you're just going to wiggle it behind that ribbon, get into that foam. Come here, buddy. There we go. Give me a hard time. There we go. And let's go beside that a little bit. These I have to cluster them a little bit more clustered, but still leave the stem long because we got to get behind the bow. Into the foam right here. Yep. There he goes. And just pull out those glue strings as you're going along. Okay, and this one into the right. Y'all, we are just layering up our greenery in the background. Let me bring this one over. I'll tuck it right in here. And my gosh, make sure you're commenting kit. You don't want to miss out on this one. Super cute. These fancy kits always sell out because they're just a lot of supplies in there and the full rolls of ribbon. They are nice. Okay, this is really pretty right here before we add anything else. Look at that. So big, so cute. But no, we're not done. That's not how we roll. We're going to come in with our sunflowers, and these have grasses and greenery and all the fun stuff. And you could just pull these off the stem, and then we'll take and trim them to make them nice, neat, and clean. I've got one little piece of greenery left. We're going to use that kind of at the front when we get all done. And I'll just trim these down where they're similar sizes. And I am going to do what we call shake hands in design school. We're going to move everybody up and shape them out. Open up my sunflower. And now I'm going to work these in and around our design. So I'm going to take one and have it coming out of the sun, the scarecrow, have it come right below the scarecrow down in here. So hold on to it when you're pushing it in. Yep, there it goes. Perfect. I'll have that one kind of come down to get a little of that pop of orange down here. Let's put some at the top. And I'm just going to separate these out also. And let's go on either side of our pumpkin. I'm going to turn her around to make it a little easy for me. So it might be upside down for just a second to you, but I'm going to go on either side of my pumpkin. I got to see way back in there. There you go. I want to hear that crunch going in there. So my first piece is going in. I love it. And I'll fluff back out my bow, and let's put the other one on this side. Okay, and I'll turn it back around and show you when we're all done. Let me get my sunflower open, and this pretty greenery looking good. Turn that around. Now, I don't know about you, but I love getting to escape into my craft room and make something beautiful like this. And when you get a completed kit all together, you literally don't have to go out shopping, worry about getting anything. You probably have got all the tools in your craft room already, and that just makes this process go by quick and easy. All right, that looks good. I love that pop of orange. Now our last step is going to be to add our berry. So on these, I like to take and just kind of pull these off. That way we can keep this wire very long to help us get all the way into the foam. So I'm going to take and pull those off. And then up here, I can trim these a little bit longer. So I got one bigger cluster and this right here. All right, let's take these and we're going to work these right in around our bow to kind of get started. Just pop those in. Oh my gosh, as soon as you add the berries, I'm telling you, that pop of orange, it picks up that pop of orange in the bow. Oh my goodness, so pretty, y'all. I love it. We're gonna put that one right there. I'm gonna come over here on this side. So I'm gonna wiggle it around a little bit. And when you do your project, don't be afraid to do that. Like maneuver it, manipulate it, so you're making it easy for you to work on it. And we're just layering these and building this design up. How about some berries up here? What we would call the foreground in the front. We want to work those in. Look how cute this is. This is building up adorable. It's coming out better than I even anticipated. I'm loving it. That orange right there. Let's come on this side, and I'm going to use these berries kind of coming down. Since we did really good with all the berries there, let's have one piece kind of cascading down out of the bottom here. So this one, you'll use that piece you left a little bit longer. And I'm going behind everybody and tucking it into the foam. Yeah, I want to hear it crunch when it goes in. And now just do your final touches of fluffing out the bow. Grab your last little piece of greenery. Trim the stem down, because this is going to go right into the foam, right kind of tucked in, kind of coming out of the bow right here. And we want to have that just tucked in right by his little head. And just like that, we made it, y'all. Can you believe how cute this turned out? This is adorable. It's just next level beautiful. I think you're going to love to try to make one of these for yourself. And this one definitely can hang on your front door or your side door or wherever you would like it. Build your own scarecrow pumpkin because it's stinking adorable. I love the silhouette of the pumpkin behind it. It looks amazing. In this particular kit, you're going to get two large elements. And that's one is the cute scarecrow head, which I love that guy. And then this fun bright yellow pumpkin. The reason we're using these colors is we want to really pop out from our orange swag base that also comes in the kit. And I want to make sure these big elements get in first. It's very easy to attach them because they have foam bases. And that's one of the reasons I'm always teaching to design school. If you can use pieces that are foam, they're quick and easy to attach. And it just kind of takes that fear out of the placement for us. So I'm going to start off here with my Scarecrow first. He comes with a little hanger, but we're not going to use that. So I'll just take that little guy out. It's just a little jute hanger, and we don't need it. So I'm going to cut that one out. So we'll have, you know, it looking cute. And I like the Scarecrow high. I think it's so cute because we're going to have some fun on the head, but not too high because I want to be able to put in some curly picks coming out of the top. And then pick a direction you want him to go. And then we're going to work alternate. So we're going to alternate directions. And that's something I'm really big about when we're building up our pieces is like having a nice flow, creating a line in a direction. That way your work just looks a little bit more elevated and a little higher level. So I think I'm going to go out to the right with him. Just hold him with your hand. And if you don't have a wreath stand yet, we have these that fold in our shop where you can purchase your own wreath stand. But if you don't have one, just lay it flat on a table and kind of start to lay out your design before you even glue. I know I want my pumpkin to kind of tuck under somewhere here, and I'm going to put a bow in the middle of both of these. So I'm going to work these opposite first. So let's go ahead and get Mr. Scarecrow in first. He's so cute. Now he's got a bright orange hat, but don't worry, we're going to take that hat to the next level. It's so fun to embellish things and make them your own, and that way if somebody else gets the kit too, when you embellish it a little bit differently, it's going to look like a completely different piece. Now I'm going to put these in here like this. So I'm going to take a couple of the pine tines, or the pieces of pine basically, and this is a U pin. Here it is right here, okay? And it's a wire that is shaped like a U basically. I'm going to take that and put it through two pieces right here, and then I'm able to pin that right into the back of the Scarecrow because he's foam. All right, so let me get it, but you have to use glue. If you don't use glue, it's just temporary and it's going to fail. So we're going to use a good amount of glue on there. And I'm going to do this a couple of times. Like one pin is not enough. You will think it's enough, but it's not, because I always want to make sure everything passes that craft show test. I teach that in design school so much. It's like, can your pieces withstand being handled a lot and hold up really well? All right, I'm going to put another one in. Same process. I've got my little basket under here. I love finding unique containers at thrift stores, garage sales, antique markets, literally to organize my workspace, but they're cool, right? They've got texture. I'll show you. It's the cutest little basket. I don't know what came in it a long time ago, maybe crackers or something. It's a cute little shape, but that's my pin box. I got my little glue in there right now. Simple little pleasures make me so happy. All right, so I've got a couple of pins in there, and he feels really good. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, when you get a swag, it never looks pretty and flat like this. I took some time before to shake hands with it. In design school, we use that term to meaning that we are going to straighten out the wires, and we're going to create a flat base. I forgot to tell you that. Sorry, but that is what we do first. Otherwise, they come and they're always going to be like, you know, crazy. You just flatten it out, take some time and be patient. Now, if you are just getting back into working with the pine bases like this one, whether it's colored or it's for Christmas, you might want to wear gloves. Sometimes they kind of eat up your hands if you're not used to it. And of course, as it gets colder in the season, you definitely got to watch your hands because you can tear them up really easy. All right, Scarecrow's in. Now we said we're going to put our next large element in this kit, and that is the pumpkin, and it's our yellow pumpkin, which is great because we're going to use all these colors in this candy corn motif that we've got going. So I want to use it kind of opposite the head, but I want to give it some motion, like up and down. I want to have it moving around. So I'm going to take and put it right here. We're going to use that same technique. So I'm going to take two pieces of the pine, and we're going to grab another floral pin out of my cute little basket. I should take y'all on my shopping adventure sometime to the fun stores that I like to pop into and get all their cool little vintage items. Okay, I'm going to press this in. So there's one pin in. All right. Now, that's a pretty good angle. She's kind of over to the side. I can manipulate her. I always want a second pin in too, So think about, okay, where else do I need to pin it to get this holding in there? So I'm going to kind of come from the side because I want her to be over this way. I'm going to grab 2 pieces and push them in. Now once they're in, I want you to come back after that glue dries and go ahead and twist those pieces of pine backward. So basically, if I put the pin over this piece right here, right, and it's like this, a U, now if I make sure and twist this back, it can't pull out, okay? So that's all we're gonna do for a second. So I'm gonna take and do that once my glue is dried. It's just kind of tantamount to twisting the twist tie on the bread bag. We don't want to do it, but you know, you got to do the twist and tuck. So we got a little space and we got our first 2 components in. So you got it? It's already looking cute. We haven't even done anything. Wait till we really get to where we start adding our pieces in. Okay, next step is grab your really long curly pieces. And these are just like this. They have the yellow and the orange in them. And we're going to use this to kind of create some whimsy, all working around our design. Now, we're going to leave this area open because we call that the bow zone. That's where we're going to put a bow in. And I leave that empty till we get the bow there. So on these, I think these break down really easy into 2 pieces each. So I'm going to get my wire cutter out. And we're going to just take one and cut it right here at the top. And then I'm going to take this one and cut this one a little bit longer into the second section of the stem. So when I do that, you can see I get a section that has a 3 and a section that has 2. I'm going to do that for both of these stems and just cut them right up. Don't cut too close to the stems on these type of stems because you see where it's a little fatter there? That's because the fabric from the curls goes down in that area. So you'll get a lot more ease of use if you don't cut right there. All right, now I want to space these out and once again shake hands, and I can squish them down or I can elongate them. I can do either one. I've got both options in my design. And remember I said I wanted to have some excitement coming out the top? That's what we're going to do first. And we're going to do that just opposite her sweet little scarecrow head. And I'm going to load this with glue. And then we're going to kind of come into the body of the swag back here. I'm not out on the edge. I'm into the body. I'm tucking that right behind the head. See how cute that is? And now I'm also going to take a little of the pine to hold it in. So we've got glue and we've got the pine. We always use a 2-step approach for attaching, just for security. I'm really big on mechanics. Of course, I want you to learn design, but I want you to have really good, solid mechanics. Because then your work will last a lot longer, and your customers, if you're a seller, they will be so happy with what they purchased, they won't want to get their wreaths from anywhere else. So in design school, I'm always making sure that everybody's learning how to properly put things together. Now, I'm going to move her up on the wreath stand so you can see the bottom we're going to work on here. And this curly part that has the 3 from the other stem, we're going to easily put this kind of under the pumpkin and a little bit off to the side right in here where the curls come into here, but then they also go down. Remember, I can pull them out or I can squish them short. I can do whatever I need to kind of make them work both ways. So let's put this one in there. I've got my glue skillet right behind my work stand, so it's really easy to get to. Now I come in here and I'm going to twist these in. Isn't that awesome? And we're going to just tuck them and rock and roll. Okay, so my curls are coming down right out of my pumpkin. Now, it's time to put the bow in. Now, we will have a link here to the bow video. It's a separate video you can go watch. And if you don't see it here, you can ask for it in the comments, or you can also head over to the supply list for this kit, and it'll have a link to all the videos that go with it. So anytime you buy a kit from us, you'll get a sheet in the kit that actually takes you back to the video, but you can also find those sheets just out on our website and the supply list anytime. It has all the links, everything you need. We try to make it super easy. And then when you're ready, you come join us in design school, and we have a whole portal where there's no hunting to find things anymore. It's right at your fingertips, and you have all that exclusive content just for you, step-by-step recorded. So here is our bow. And we went with all the fun colors on this one. And we went with the orange, little cute candy corn on the front. It turned out super duper cute. So this bow, it has a cable tie in the back where we're going to be able to attach it to our wreath base. We're going to go right into that bow zone we talked about, right into this area where we left the space. And I'm going to try to tuck the bow in a little bit off to the right and kind of pop her in between. This is going to soften the bright yellow of the pumpkin, but still let it poke out from behind. I love that. So we're going to come in, and I'm going to attach this to, I'm going to go with 3 pieces of pine, and you're going to use the same technique we just did, where you're not going to the base, but you're going to the pieces of pine, and then we're going to twist them backward, just like I talked about the bread twist tie. You're doing that so if someone were to pick it up by the bow, it can't just slide off. We got to make sure that these things are going to hold up. Now it looks whack right now. It's facing forward. Don't worry, we're going to pull it back. So I'm going to tie that in, and now you're going to go ahead and tuck those loops right under her chin. Oh, how cute is that? And we're going to have this all really poof out. Okay? And we're going to add a couple more curls kind of coming out of the bow now that she's in. So take these sweet little curls and tuck them right behind the bow. So once you have that in the spot it's going to be, you've like nailed the bow zone. I'm going to tuck this inside here. And we're going to get some pine. We're going to make sure the pine hits the glue, and then we're also wiring it in too. Now, if you're making this for yourself, you're more than welcome not to glue it if you want to. It just is not going to, it's going to take a beating on your front door and stuff will fall out. So just know, hey, when I'm ready and I've got my design ready, I've really got to glue it in. Because I want it to last, you know, a good while at least. See, when I get that glue on there, I get a lot of it. A whole bunch. Okay, and I'm going to come from the other side, and we're going to tuck this one in. I'm going to kind of go under her head. Now, we talk about direction and changes in direction all the time in design school and how important they are. So when I'm right here at the center of the bow, it's totally fine to just have those pieces just come right out. Look how cute that is. Before we put the cupcakes in, I know you've been waiting for the cupcakes. We want to go ahead and get some ribbon tails in. So you're going to grab your ribbons that were in the bow. And I am going to use these 2 right here and layer them up to put them in. It's very simple just to layer a skinnier ribbon on a more narrow. Now, I'm getting ready to have to pull these ribbons while I'm working with them. And I use, it can sit on the bow maker, or you can also just take a dowel and stick it right between your little rolls of ribbon if you need to pull it on the counter. So you see here, put it in, and now I can easily pull and hold that. So you don't have to have anything fancy to be able to pull these tails out nice. Okay, my first tail is just going to hang straight down here at the bottom. Let me bring her back up so you can see. When I'm doing a swag and I'm filming, it's a little tricky because we got a lot of directions. Now, I think it's cute to have like a double set of tails, just like this, and kind of cut them at opposite angles. I like to make one a little longer and one a little shorter. So we're going to do that right now. Come on here, cut up, buddy. Okay, you don't have to do anything too fancy, but make this, right? And then I'm going to take and just wire it in. Okay, so take the piece of wire, twist around, tuck it up and under. And that big one's going to go there. And the small one will just go on top. Okay, so there's our cute little tail. And we've got more picks to put in here at the bottom, so don't worry. Now I'm going to come back to the top. That's so cute. And we want another tail kind of shooting out this way. Now, if you want tails to stand up, you can't cut them so long. They'll be floppy. So we're going to cut them a little bit shorter when we go up to the top part, right? So I'm going to do the same thing. Hold my little spool holder here. And we're going to go, maybe that's about 8 inches, 7 inches. I'm going to gather it. And then my next one I can make just a little bit longer so they stack up pretty. You can see here, I'm going to come in and make it about 9. So not too big, okay? So this is what it'll look like. Now, I want this to stand up a little better than that last one, so I'm not going to use the same technique. I'm actually going to gather it like this. See, it's flopping a little. We'll put a little weight behind it. We'll put some of the pine behind it. Now, I want you to grab a cable tie, and go ahead and put this on one of our pieces of stem. Where's our black stem? So here's our black stem off of one of the pieces we already cut. I want you just to put that around there. And we just made our own little cluster, okay? I like to cable tie it on. It'll keep this cluster tight and will help it sit up a little bit better. All right, don't worry about it flopping. We're going to put it in the wreath itself. You can also, like if one ribbon's a little stronger than the other, we can always take and tack a little glue on there and make it a little bit more sturdy. So I'll do that right now, right? Okay. So I'm just going to run just a light bit of glue on here with my simple technique and just run that right down the middle. Okay, and I make it a little bit stronger to sit up. And this is going to come out working right behind these curls. So we're going to go behind them and have that little bit of ribbon just popping out of the top. Super cute. Let's put it in there. I got to glue it in using the same technique. But it's kind of neat when you layer ribbon like that. You can kind of create your own pattern basically, which is a lot of fun. So as I put it in, I'm also going to twist around because I want to keep it stable. And let's just tuck it in and make sure you got some pine kind of coming behind it in it so that can pop right out. It's so cute. All right, I promised you cupcakes. Here come the cupcakes. So I know I want to use some cupcakes kind of coming out the top and definitely having a lot of fun with that. So I'm going to take a couple here and we're going to separate these where they each have a good sized stem. And you want to hold on to any extra stem because we can use that for another little project. Okay, so I want to get them standing up pretty good, and let's put one right here above the hat. I think that would be really cute. Like she's got some cupcakes in her hat because she's that cool. Of course she is. That looks good right there. Oh, cute! And let's use one right here in the side. I have a couple right here together. Isn't that just making it so cute and whimsical? I love this. If you've got grandkids, you have got to snag this kit because they can help you make it. And you just need to supervise the glue gun, of course, but man, this would be super cute. They can name the scarecrow, give her a name, and then help you add all the fun embellishments on here. That's literally half the fun. All right, since we put these cupcakes over here, we're going to put some more cupcakes in. We want these to come opposite and work opposite, and that'll bring that color combo over. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'll take and cut these down into two sections. And the first one I kind of want to keep a little tight to the bow. Come out. Look how cute that's going to be. Right in here. Oh my gosh. You guys, if you're not on our text list, you might want to get a spot because you know why? I let you know when new videos are coming out, just like this one. So if you don't get a text for a video, sometimes that's because it's a replay. It's not brand new. When something is brand new, brand spanking new, we always shoot out a text so our VIP customers can know, hey, you don't want to miss this. Our text number is 832-734-5201. Or you can also take and go to textkeleas.com and sign up there. You've got a couple of different options. Now, once you get on the text list, send us VIP, like very important person, because then we know you are set up to get our first 10% off your first order. We'll send you a coupon, and then you're not going to miss another text when we have something new, like this cutie right here. Okay, let me show you what we got so far. We got some cupcakes. We got the top. Oh, so stinking cute. Of course, you can make yours the way you want. Feel free to add more and more and go to town. Let's put in a couple more cupcakes here at the bottom. Or at least one more. We might save one more for the top. Let's put in one more kind of coming out the middle of this tail. I think that would be so cute. Get in the middle. I'm going to twist that around. And these are all on great wires, so I can always take and have them come back up. You know, if them being upside down is bugging you, it's no big deal. We can twist them up and manipulate them however we need for the design we want. I kind of like that one coming out down. All right, let's bring it back down. I'm going to add one more cupcake to the top. Isn't she precious? And this one we're going to kind of put over here on the right side. I think kind of coming right beside her cheek would be precious. So watch your ribbon. Let's get her loaded with glue. And I'm going to come in on the right. Excuse me, I'm going to give you a little cupcake right at your cheek here, baby. She's so stinking cute. Okay, our last little pieces that come in the kit. So I want to add a couple of these to her hat to kind of embellish her hat a little bit and get it looking adorable. So we're going to take and cut these down a little shorter. I just like to take a couple of stems off. And we're going to make a sweet little like piece for the top of her hat. Now in this kit you get full rolls of ribbon. So you'll have plenty of ribbon to add more embellishments, add more ribbon tails. Whatever you want, you can pop in more. I'm going to put these kind of coming out of her hat, but like she stuck a feather in her hat, kind of like that. Oh, that's cute. And let's put a little the other way. And then I'm going to tie her just a little bitty bow to go up and under here. Yeah. Oh. Just going to make sure that stays right there. Get her a little... You can also curl these if you want them a little shorter. Always think that's cute. It's kind of like little pip berries. Have some fun with them. I'm holding it while I'm kind of moving it around. Isn't that precious? Now, we got to cover up our little bit of mechanics there. So I'm going to take our sweet little cute candy corn ribbon and just make a regular old bow, but I'm going to kind of double up on it. So I'm going to have two pieces. So it'll be a kind of a nice little loopy one. So 2 pieces of the ribbon. And let's just do a regular old bow. Loop, 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 and a crisscross applesauce, okay? 2 loops and crisscross. Let's see if we can make it cute on the first go. We're going to try. All right, let me pull the tails out a little bit better. Just like you're tying your shoes, basically. But we're doing it with 2 layers of ribbon. So I want to get it looking cute. I didn't really pay attention, but this little ribbon has a rickrack edge. That is so cute. No wonder I liked it. All right. Now I'm just going to pull these down until I get the loop size I want. And twist those little tails. Okay. Oh, it's going to be so cute right there. And we're going to trim these a little shorter. You could even dovetail them if you wanted. I'm going to go short and long. So I cut that first one a little short, then a little long. And now we're going to glue that in her little hair right there. The embellishment part of the project is always the funnest. It's like these little details. Sometimes when you're a creative that sells, you have to be careful because you end up really getting sucked into this little world of embellishing. It's so fun. But you know what? It's worth it. Those little details make it super cute. Now, I've got 2 of these stems left, and I would like to put some of these in the bow and a little bit scattered throughout. So I'm going to just literally take and cut these into individual stems. And that way we can make them go all over our design. But we want to just use these to add little bits of detail throughout the design. So I'm going to cut that longer so this stem could be a little bit longer. Trim this so we get all these, some with a little bit of longer stem if possible. There you go, and it's all broken up into individual pieces. So let's first start with the bow. I like to put about 3 into there. Now when we go into the bow, sometimes we glue into the loops of the bow, but other times we literally just go in between them, like here to layer behind. Okay, and I'm gonna glue actually to the base of the bottom ribbons, and just make sure you kind of grab and sandwich it in between the ribbons so it'll stay. So that's so cute coming out of there. And poof up these layers. And you gotta watch this bow video too, because we layered up the last layer on the top of this bow, which is really, really cute. Something you can play with. And if you're a design school student, we have some layered bow videos in the portal that you will love, love, love if you haven't used that technique in a while. That's a fun one to play with. Okay, here comes my third piece in. And once they get set up, you can fluff them a little bit more, just like the layers of the actual bow. Once the glue's set, I can wiggle it a little bit more, but just give it a second. All right, let's put one more. I'm putting 4 in the bow. I thought 3 would be enough. No. Now, when you start to put different elements in your design, sometimes it's, you know, you feel like I'm just going to put a little everywhere. And that's fine. But in this case, we're using candy corns kind of in the center zone, these small ones. So it's more beneficial if we just kind of keep the eye going in that area. So what I want you to do is you can branch out a little, but I want you to stay in the center when you start putting these in. So, and create a line with them. So I'm doing that right here. Like this is kind of continuing from our little hat, squeezing it in. And then I'm going to put one more above. And then we'll work a few more below the bow to continue that line on. Okay, here I'm going to the back of the hat, but I'm going to find some pine to kind of sandwich it. So even though I'm not using the wire to hold these, I am sandwiching them between 2 things so the glue can hold. All right, we have 4 more pieces. Now we're going to work right down this center and put them in right here. So we'll come right below the bow, right in here. I'm going to get in there on that pine. There's our first piece. Ah, get up higher. Come on down. I want to put one right here. These are just such cute little accents. Now, if you like anything in the kit, we always have all the pieces labeled there. So that way, if there is something else you want more of, and we have it in stock, you can add that. Let's say you like, oh, Keleas, I love those little candy corns. I know I'm going to have ribbon left from the kit. Let me go ahead and buy some more of that. We'll have links to all that on the supply list as well. So you can go to town, really. You can add more of that collection when you grab the kit. And you'll know you have more things that work with the ribbons and the whole design, because you've already seen me work with it. It's a no-brainer, right? It's a no-brainer. You know it's going to work. Hey, we did it. She is a cutie. She's a cutie. She's going to pop right off your front door with all her yellow and orange and black. She is going to be stunning. I can't wait for you to try this type of swag and play with the cute little detail ribbons on your pieces, add little accents and little additions. I think you're going to have so much fun with it. So, Limerinos, y'all go grab this kit. Supplies are always limited and they sell out fast. So I can't wait to see yours. Make sure you come back and share it with us. We'd love to see what you're making and creating.